This is Street 750 Harley Davidson. It's been leaking coolant for a while and I was wondering where this is coming from. So there are few traces of coolant here. If you can see that orange color, that's the coolant. Okay, it's been dripping from right here somewhere, so I traced it back to this guy here, which seems to be the valve which allows the flow of coolant through the radiator only when the temperature is adequate. So it's been leaking from between the joint here. See that? See, it's still coming up, still coming out. Okay, so that is where it is leaking from. Now the problem is, it doesn't leak when you start it. It leaks only when the pressure is built. So only when the engine heats up and there is enough pressure for this guy, then this starts to leak. And it leaks so much, I haven't even opened any pipe, so there is no leakage from opening. If you can see the level of the coolant right there, that's what's left of the coolant now. So the entire coolant is drained and has been dripping down. You see those marks? So it's been dripping down. So I'll try and open this and see what's going on with that. You see that cap? That's the radiator cap. It's not leaking from there, trust me. There is no evidence of leakage on the cap. Okay, so what you see here is just because I washed it a while ago. Those are the deposits, but you will not see coolant there. Okay, the coolant is only present here somewhere. Okay, so that's weird, right? So I'm gonna check out why is it leaking so much. It's leaking like crazy. It's down. So here is the leak. Found the place. So see that? It's dripping. Now this only happens after it heats, because I believe the valve opens and then the coolant goes to the radiator. Until then the coolant never travels to the radiator. It just travels within the engine so that the temperature is, engine operating temperature is reached. Once that valve opens, there is a solenoid here. Once that opens, the coolant travels to the radiator through this pipe here. Okay, that's the pipe which is directly going to your radiator there. That's the pipe. Okay, now when that valve opens and it tries to push that coolant there, this joint, there is a leak here as well. If you see this pipe, okay, there is a slight water or the coolant is coming out of this gap here. Okay, so there is a leak here, okay, which is not very significant, but the leak is more over there. If you see the tip of this screw, tip of that, see some water there. Now this dripping cannot go upwards, right? So obviously there is a leak somewhere above here, so that this is where it is. Okay, now because of that, I haven't seen any spraying as such, because if there is a pressure it should spray the coolant all over the place, but surprisingly I don't see any spraying happening here. But that pipe is definitely leaking out. This leak explains why the coolant is dripping here and then here. So you can see the fresh dripping. See that? So this explains that. Now I found the source of this guy. Why is leaking? Alright, so I removed the complete assembly. Here it is. Now we noticed that there was a leak in this hose. So it was like this. So when it was on the vehicle, it was like this. So this is where the pipe was leaking out. Okay, and it was dripping down from this specific nut down there when we made the video. There was also a bit coolant which was oozing out from this gap. You can still see some traces of that. See that? And there's a gap here. You see that? You see my hand there, right? From the gap. So still there is a gap. I don't know what's going on. Maybe the o-ring is messed up, or I don't know. I'll just open it up and see. But this is how the wall looks like. Now there are two pins here, or the clips here. These are attached using a tool. So once you get this off, you will not be able to fix it. Okay, this is one time. So I did not remove these. Instead, I removed the joint here, which had the normal clips which are used in all the vehicles. So you just have to pinch them using a plier and then pull this pipe out. That's it. That's how I did it. Now when I fit back, I will do the same thing. I will first fix the innermost, that one, then this one. Okay, so let's open this and see what's going on. So here is the valve opened. So this has some kind of collar. So if you notice this one, this is a collar. Okay, this is not an o-ring. If you look, see that surface right there, see that surface, see how bad it is. I don't know what kind of workmanship is this, but isn't this supposed to be extremely flat? Look at that. You see the ridge? Look at the edge of this thing. They're all protrusions outside, so this is not very smooth. Okay, rubber is plastic. The o-ring is right here inside this. You see that o-ring? Now see, notice the edges here. You see those edges? See how badly it was sealed? See those edges? So I don't think this was sealing properly. See, now that ridge that you see right there runs till some point and then vanishes. So it is not a very good seal, I would say. Very bad seal right here. So I don't know how it was keeping that pressure, but this is a very poor joint. See that? Not very happy with this. Again, I don't know who made this. I am sure Harley Davidson did not make it. So I'm gonna try and just get rid of these edges, sharp edges here. I don't know. These are gonna cause problems, because if you have a good seal, you have to have a flat surface, right? Isn't that true? But this has, see that edge right there. The focusing is very bad for this. I'm using a OnePlus 6T. Look at that edge. See that? Look at that. Right here. Look at right this one. See my nail? It's just getting stuck there. See, it's getting stuck there. See? So I'm gonna have to just use a 1000 grit or something and give a very light sanding to this guy and see if that's able to seal it. But very poor seal. This is the clip I'm going to put on the leaking hose that I found. So hope this will stop the leaking. Okay, so I added this hose clip here. Okay, so this should seal it because it was leaking from this end. It should seal that problem. I also reattached this one. I just sanded the burr out of that cast, and then hopefully that should be able to seal it. Don't forget to plug in the wires. If you don't, the engine check light will turn on, and then you will have to clear the codes. Okay, also the ignition wire that goes back at the back of the ignition coil, don't forget to plug this on before you turn the key on. Okay, so when you're ready to fill it, just fill the coolant in this. Once it's stopped, once it comes on the top, put the cap on. Don't forget to put it on. Put the cap on, start the engine, wait for the fan to kick on. Okay, once that happens, the coolant will circulate. Once that circulates, stop the engine, wait for it to cool down completely. Okay, do not open this cap when it's hot. It will just spray out hot water or hot coolant on your face, which is dangerous. Don't do that. Then once it's completely cool, very very cool, okay, like ice cool, then again top this up. Okay, that's what I am going to do right now. I already had topped this up yesterday, kept the bike running. Now that it's cool, I'm gonna refill it. Okay, now the idea, the spot is very tight here, so even if one person is holding the tank up, that's my father holding the tank up, but you still can't put it right. And don't struggle with this. Don't try to pull it, push it, or because these are plastic joints, they may just break, and if they break, then you have no other choice but to replace this. Okay, don't do that. So instead, I just had this Rockwell pump lying around. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold the bottle up, put this end in the bottle, okay, and the other end in the coolant reservoir or the radiator cap. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do. So the fan did run once, and there is not even a single drop here. See that? It's completely dry. Nothing oozing out of that. That small green thing you see in the gap was from the spillage when I was filling it, but that's not a leak. I wiped it completely, let it ran till the cycle happens. The engine is still hot. It's not warm, it's like crazy hot, but there is no leak. So our process is successful and this thing is fixed now. I can ride this bike now.